Hey soil builders, I'm about to share something that, honestly, completely changed my composting game. For years I watched my leaf piles just sit there for months, barely breaking down, and honestly taking up valuable space in my garden. Then I discovered a simple liquid accelerator that turned those stubborn leaves into rich, crumbly compost in less than 2 weeks. No fancy equipment, no expensive products, just a DIY solution you can make in your kitchen right now. Here's what most gardeners don't understand about leaves. They're essentially locked vaults of carbon wrapped in waxy coatings and lignin. Without the right conditions, these leaves can take 18 months or longer to break down naturally. The secret to accelerating this process isn't some miracle chemical. It's about delivering exactly what decomposer organisms need in a form they can use immediately. The liquid I'm talking about is a high nitrogen tea that supercharges microbial activity. When you drench your leaf pile with this solution, you're essentially feeding billions of bacteria and fungi the nitrogen they desperately need to break down all that carbon-rich leaf material. Think of it like pouring gasoline on a fire, except instead of flames, you're igniting a biological feeding frenzy that generates heat and transforms leaves at an astonishing rate. The magic happens because leaves have a carbon-to-nitrogen ratio of about 50 to 1, sometimes even higher with oak leaves. Decomposer microorganisms need a ratio closer to 30 to 1 to thrive. When you add concentrated nitrogen in liquid form, it penetrates every layer of your leaf pile, reaching places that dry amendments never could. Within 48 hours of application, your pile temperature will spike, and those leaves will start their rapid transformation. The liquid accelerator I use is incredibly simple. It's essentially a concentrated urine and water solution, though I know some of you just cringed at that. But stay with me here, because urine is sterile when it leaves a healthy body and contains the perfect blend of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in readily available forms. It's basically free liquid fertilizer that costs you nothing. Here's my exact recipe. I collect urine in a dedicated container and dilute it at a ratio of 1 part urine to 10 parts water. This dilution is crucial because pure urine is too concentrated and can actually inhibit microbial activity. The diluted version provides nitrogen levels around 3,000 parts per million, which is the sweet spot for explosive decomposition. I make 5 gallons at a time, which is enough to treat a leaf pile that's roughly 4 feet by 4 feet by 3 feet tall. If you're not comfortable using urine, and I completely understand if you're not, you can create a similar accelerator using blood meal or fish emulsion. Mix half a cup of blood meal into a gallon of warm water, let it steep for 24 hours, then strain it through cheesecloth. Dilute this concentrate at a ratio of 1 cup per gallon of water. It's not quite as effective as the urine solution, but it'll still dramatically speed up your composting process. This is where most people go wrong, and honestly, it's why they don't see the dramatic results I'm describing. You can't just sprinkle this liquid on top of your leaf pile and expect magic to happen. The application method is absolutely critical to success, and believe me, I learned this through plenty of failed attempts. Start by building your leaf pile in layers that are no more than 6 inches thick. After each layer, drench it thoroughly with your nitrogen solution until water is visibly dripping from the bottom. I mean, really soak it. You want those leaves completely saturated. Then, add your next 6-inch layer and repeat. This layering and soaking process ensures that every leaf in your pile has direct contact with the nitrogen-rich liquid. The moisture level you're aiming for is what I call the squeeze sponge test. Grab a handful of leaves from the pile and squeeze hard. You should get several drops of liquid, but it shouldn't stream out. This moisture level maintains aerobic conditions while providing the water that microorganisms need to function. Too dry and decomposition stalls. Too wet and you create anaerobic conditions that smell terrible and slow everything down. So, temperature monitoring tells you everything about how well this process is working. Within 2 days of application, your pile should heat up to between 100 and 130 degrees Fahrenheit. I use a compost thermometer to check daily, and honestly, this heat spike is your confirmation that decomposition is happening at warp speed. If you don't see this temperature increase, you either didn't use enough liquid, or your nitrogen concentration was too weak. The first 3 days after application are when the most dramatic changes occur. The heat generated by microbial activity literally cooks those leaves, breaking down the waxy cuticle and lignin that normally make them so resistant to decomposition. When I check my pile on day 3, the leaves have already lost their structure and are beginning to mat together into a cohesive mass. By day 5, you'll notice the volume of your pile has decreased by almost half. This isn't just settling, it's actual decomposition. The leaves are being converted into carbon dioxide, water, and humus at a rate that would normally take months. The color shifts from brown to a rich chocolate brown, and the texture becomes noticeably softer and more crumbly when you run your hands through it. So, around day 7, I turned the pile for the first time, moving the outer material to the center and breaking up any clumps. This is honestly when you'll really start to appreciate what's happened. What were once intact leaves are now broken into fragments, and they're thoroughly colonized by these white fungal networks. The smell has changed too. It's gone from that musty leaf smell to this sweet, earthy aroma of fresh compost. And, that's the scent of successful decomposition. I've processed hundreds of leaf piles using this method, and well, I've encountered every problem you can imagine. The most common issue is incomplete saturation, where the center of the pile stays dry. This creates a kind of dead zone where decomposition barely happens. My solution is to use a garden fork to create ventilation holes before applying the liquid, which really helps it penetrate deeply into the pile. Another challenge is maintaining moisture as decomposition generates heat and evaporates water pretty rapidly. In dry climates or if it's just really hot out, I cover my pile with a tarp to help retain moisture. Check your pile every 2 to 3 days, and if the squeeze sponge test shows it's drying out, just add plain water. You don't need to add more nitrogen solution after the initial application. The microorganisms you've activated will keep working as long as moisture levels stay adequate. Particle size matters more than most gardeners realize. Whole leaves, especially tough ones like magnolia or oak, take longer to break down even with the nitrogen boost. I run my leaves through a mulching mower before piling them, which increases surface area and speeds decomposition by another 30 to 40%. Shredded leaves treated with this liquid solution can be ready to use in as little as 10 days. After 2 weeks, your leaves have transformed into a material that's incredibly valuable in the garden, though it's not quite finished compost yet. I call this stage active compost, and it's perfect for mulching around established plants, incorporating into new garden beds, or adding to potting mixes if you let it age another week or two. The nutrient profile at this stage is, honestly, pretty impressive. You've got readily available nitrogen from the liquid you added, plus the phosphorus and micronutrients that were locked in the leaves are now accessible to plants. The partially decomposed organic matter keeps breaking down in your soil, feeding earthworms and beneficial microorganisms while also improving your soil structure. I use this material everywhere in my garden. Around trees and shrubs, I apply a 3-inch layer that continues decomposing and feeding the soil throughout the season. In vegetable beds, I incorporate it into the top 6 inches before planting. The ongoing decomposition provides a slow-release nitrogen source that supports plants for months, without the risk of burning that comes with fresh manure or synthetic fertilizers. Here's what I want you to do. Gather just 1 trash can full of leaves and try this method. Document your results with photos every 2 days. Check the temperature, and note how quickly the transformation happens. Compare it to a control pile without the liquid treatment. The difference will absolutely convince you that this technique deserves a permanent place in your gardening practice. We're building soil together, 1 leaf pile at a time. If this method revolutionizes your composting game like it did mine, smash that subscribe button to catch more soil building secrets. Share this article with your gardening friends who are drowning in fall leaves. They'll thank you when they're spreading finished compost in spring instead of still staring at leaf piles. Let's turn those autumn leaves into black gold, faster than you ever thought possible.